what does this mean for the NFL season, which is slated to start September 10th?
I think that I don't think it's going to affect the NFL season, to be quite honest with you, because I don't think that the players in the National Football League are in the financial positions that the NBA players are. The cushion that a lot of NBA players have to walk away and be absolutely fine without their quality of life being severely compromised. I don't think most NFL players have that luxury. There's 1,696 players in the National Football League once a regular season starts. And we all know, with the exception of the select few, a vast majority of them simply don't have that luxury. But if you don't mind, Roz, I would like to get back to responding directly to what I heard from Troy Vincent in terms of how I feel about that and what my reaction to that was. Mm-hmm. What I thought when I listened to Troy Vincent cry the way that he did, Roz, Max, I said this is a very, very, very bad look for the National Football League. Because when an executive vice president, who is a black man, who has the direct ear of the commissioner of the National Football League and any owner he so chooses, is so emotional and crying so vividly over the phone lines, that tells you that it's not just about what's in the streets, and it's not just about what he's seeing on camera. That is palpable frustration that a black man, even in a position as high as him, comes from his home to work every day having to shoulder and deal with. It told me he's talking to somebody, or has spoken to somebody like a Jerry Jones, has listened to this man who I actually like and am fond of. This man, Jerry Jones, he takes a staunch position with the Colin Kaepernick thing, and then George Floyd passes away, and literally for the first time in history, we got an APB out for Jerry Jones. We can't find him nowhere at all. We ain't seen him on camera. We ain't heard his voice on radio. But he wasn't even spotted on his yacht. I mean, we couldn't find him any damn place from the time that George Floyd passed away. So when you see these kind of things transpiring, and you see how dogged he is about kneeling during the national anthem, or not really speaking out about black lives and the level of persecution that we've been subjected to, and these things of that nature, and you hear what he has had to say, and you remember the kind of things that Mr. McNair, God rest his soul, former owner for the Houston Texans, he had to say that really agitated DeAndre Hopkins, the stalwart wide receiver for them at the time before he gets traded to Arizona. And you listen to what's going on in Washington involving women and Daniel Snyder's organization with that Washington football franchise, and you turn everywhere you turn, and you see the kind of stuff that's going on, and you heard the kind of stuff that we have heard over the years. To hear Troy Vincent so emotional, to see Keyshawn Johnson, who is a strong black man, our brother, literally crying on national television, it brings into perspective not just the black plight, but it also brings into perspective the plight of being black in the NFL. Something's awry there too. We knew it. Of course we knew it. We've talked about it. But today, it took on a different level when you see the emotions that Troy Vincent and Keyshawn Johnson, both former NFL players, expressed over the airwaves. Of course, it wasn't just about them. It was about being black and being a black man in America and having to go with what we have to go through. But in Troy Vincent's case, it's also about communicating with people every day that just don't get it. And we know who those people are, and we know where they work.
Stephen A., what are the unique challenges of being a black man in the NFL? I just thought that was an interesting comment and wanted to know what that meant.
Well, the kind of things that we're talking about right now, communicating with them and recognizing they don't get it, they're insensitive to it, they have a deaf ear to it, they're tone deaf, they're dismissive, all they care about is the bottom line, they don't give a damn. Now, the NBA players feel that way too, and they got guaranteed contracts. The NFL players, most of their contracts aren't guaranteed. And so when it's not guaranteed and it's the next man up mentality and bodies are being exchanged, damn near like a plantation, it seems sometimes, okay? And that kind of stuff is going on. And then you try to talk to people about elevating the level of conversation and touching on issues pertinent and relevant to us as a community and our society, reminding the NFL that you are on the verge of making $25 billion a year in profits, because that's what Roger Goodell projected years ago that they would be making by the year 2025. All of those things are going on, and yet and still, what we're asking for in return is for you to be sincere and genuine in expressing and displaying your outright affection for black people. And you see that some folks have expressed a problem with doing so the moment they are inconvenienced in any way. Then you find yourself thinking about it. Like Charles Barkley said, black folks, you know what? People talk to us about all the time about being black and taking certain positions. Tom Brady ain't asked about white people. Aaron Rodgers ain't asked about white people. You got to think about that.
Major League Baseball postponed 3 games, including the Brewers game yesterday, in light of what the Bucks did. Postponed, didn't cancel.
Yeah.
Stephen A., you made the argument a couple weeks ago that you thought that if SEC football wasn't played, that could swing the general election because people in the in Trump's base would be very upset that they didn't have football, which is practically a religion down there. And I disagreed because he would simply shift blame, and because the pandemic is raging, and they seem to be very low susceptible to very low quality information and easy to propagandize, and almost immune to facts.